Ulrich Brueckner, he's in Berlin, Professor of European Studies at Stanford University there. Welcome again, Ulrich. And let's talk about the legal issue, because Ursula von der Leyen was saying today it's almost the easiest decision that EU representatives will ever make. And morally speaking, she might well be right. But when you start talking legally, this is quite contentious, isn't it, using another country's assets?
Well, this is not a new discussion that we have. And so the legal services looked into the different options, and they are now presenting something that they consider to be legally waterproof. If this is right or not depends on what kind of yardstick you use to measure. But I think what we've seen last week, when the assets were frozen for a long time, and they also changed the legal basis to discuss this from unanimous vote to qualified majority vote, it paved the way for a solution today. And all the drama and all the hysteria that we have seen in the media and from different commentators is a bit over the top. The European Union summits have always been like this, that you have conflicting interests because it's not a state, but sovereign states meet in the framework of the European Council. Everyone has a point, including Belgium, for liability questions, and we will certainly see a solution.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, I mean, Belgium's concerned about liability because it's the one holding most of the money, and it's clearly worried it's going to be held responsible legally and held responsible by Russia for possible consequences. Will today's decision, do you think, show us just how well the EU is working at the moment as a political coalition?
Well, we certainly will see how the European Union is performing on that very day. And if everyone presented a common European position as the only way to play a role in negotiations over the heads of the Europeans, if we stand united, then this is the only way. And I think at the end of the day, they will agree on something that presents a united Europe in which the liability point of Belgium will be addressed. I don't expect any decision over the heads of the ones who express a minority position. Politically, it would be possible. Legally, it's okay, but it sends the wrong signal. Because if the European Union uses the solidarity argument for everyone on the eastern flank and their security risks as the main argument why there is a need to support Ukraine with this money, then the same applies to Belgium, located further west and not directly exposed to a Russian threat. So it has to balance the interests of the different member states, and it certainly will.
The fact that the EU is trying to use Russian money to support Ukraine, does that mean that the willingness to use member states' own money has run out? Is the EU getting desperate?
No, the EU is not getting desperate. And if you look at what each and every member states have bilaterally contributed to help Ukraine to finance its struggle and its right for self-defense, then there's still a lot of room for maneuver in each and every national budget. But also on a European level, we have seen that in special moments, like right after COVID, it's possible to be creative and to fill a fund that was considered to be an exception because the European Union can normally not borrow money on financial markets. But if necessary, we could repeat the exceptional situation again. And then this would be a way to address the liability concerns of Belgium or other concerns by countries that have been massively pushed by the United States to veto this because the United States wants to use the money for their own interests, including interests of the Trump family.
It's interesting. You're confident they will be able to work through their differences. It's going to be fascinating to find out what kind of a decision they come to, if any. We'll watch this with great interest. Thank you, Ulrich. Ulrich Brueckner is Professor of European Studies at Stanford University in Berlin.